Do you remember the smell of tires and motor oil as you walked into a Western Auto? It wasn't just a store, it was part of everyday life. Whether grabbing car parts or a new gadget, Western Auto had it all. From its start in 1909 as a mail-order business to becoming a neighborhood staple, it shaped the way America shopped. In this video, we'll revisit Western Auto's golden years, the rise of its iconic products like the Western Flyer bike, and explore what led to its eventual decline as big box stores took over. The humble beginnings of a retail giant. Western Auto's story began in 1909 when George Pepperdine, a visionary entrepreneur from Kansas City, Missouri, recognized the potential of America's rapidly growing automotive industry. At the time, automobiles were becoming more common, but car owners, particularly those in rural areas, struggled to find replacement parts and accessories. With just $5 in his pocket, Pepperdine started a small mail-order business that offered affordable car parts directly to customers' doors. This innovative approach was crucial in the early days of the automobile, making Western Auto a lifeline for car owners across the country. Pepperdine's initial catalog was a modest affair, just a few pages long, offering items like tire repair kits, spark plugs, and parts for the Ford Model T, which was America's most popular car at the time. His business grew quickly, not just because of the products, but due to his hands-on approach. In fact, Pepperdine personally handled customer correspondence and ensured that orders were fulfilled efficiently. His attention to detail and dedication to customer satisfaction helped build trust and loyalty among his customers, which was critical for success in an era when mail-order businesses were still gaining acceptance. One fascinating fact that many might not know is that Western Auto played a key role in the rise of the do-it-yourself DIY movement in America. Before the idea of going to a store and buying tools to fix your own car was mainstream, Western Auto empowered regular people to maintain and repair their own vehicles. This gave Americans, particularly those in remote areas, a sense of independence and control over their cars, which were fast becoming central to their daily lives. In 1915, just a few years after its founding, Western Auto's success allowed Pepperdine to open its first retail store in Kansas City. This marked the beginning of a new era for the company, the rise of Western Auto from car parts to a one-stop shop. By the 1920s, Western Auto had evolved from its humble mail-order beginnings into a thriving retail chain that was rapidly expanding across the United States. As the number of cars on American roads grew, so did Western Auto's product offerings and its influence. George Pepperdine realized early on that for the company to truly succeed, it needed to expand beyond just automotive parts. This strategic shift turned Western Auto into a one-stop shop for not only car parts, but also household goods, tools, and recreational items. It was this diversification that helped propel the company into its golden years. Western Auto's stores became a staple in both small towns and big cities. Walking into a Western Auto in the 1930s or 1940s, you would be greeted by shelves stocked with everything from tires and batteries to radios and sporting goods. The stores provided a sense of convenience that was unmatched at the time, allowing customers to find everything they needed in one location. Western Auto wasn't just a place to pick up a spare tire, it was where families could browse for bicycles, camping gear, and home appliances. The expansion of their product line made them a destination for much more than just car repairs. One of the most iconic products to come out of Western Auto's expansion was the Western Flyer bicycle, first introduced in the 1930s. The Western Flyer quickly became a symbol of American childhood, with its distinctive design and affordability. Many kids who grew up in the 1940s and 1950s likely have fond memories of riding their Western Flyer bikes, which were sold exclusively at Western Auto stores. This brand loyalty extended beyond bicycles, with customers trusting Western Auto to deliver quality and value in everything from radios to refrigerators. By the 1950s and 1960s, Western Auto had hit its stride. It wasn't just a place for gearheads or DIY car enthusiasts. It was a store that catered to the entire family. You could walk in to buy a car battery and leave with a new bicycle for your child or a set of tools for the house. This expansion into diverse product lines was one of the key reasons why Western Auto became a beloved part of the American retail landscape during its golden years. Western Auto's success wasn't just about the products. It was also about the experience. The stores were known for their friendly, knowledgeable staff, many of whom were trained to assist customers with everything from car repairs to home improvements. Western Auto prided itself on offering expert advice to regular people, making it easier for families to maintain their cars and homes without needing to rely on expensive services. This personal touch helped Western Auto establish itself as a trusted name in communities across the country. As America grew, so did Western Auto. By the 1960s, the company had hundreds of stores nationwide and a brand identity that resonated with both rural and urban customers. The convenience, variety, and customer service that Western Auto offered made it a fixture in American life for decades. But as much as the 1950s and 1960s were a time of triumph for Western Auto, the seeds of its eventual decline were also being sown. Competitors were emerging, and the retail landscape was beginning to shift in ways that would challenge the very foundations of the company's success. The golden years of Western Auto. During the 1950s and 1960s, Western Auto experienced its golden era, becoming a retail giant and a beloved fixture in American communities. This period marked the peak of the company's influence, with its product offerings and reputation reaching new heights. Western Auto wasn't just a place to buy car parts. It became a trusted source for a variety of household and recreational goods, solidifying its position as one of the most versatile retailers of the era. One of the most iconic products that defined Western Auto's golden years was the Western Flyer bicycle. First introduced in the 1930s, it became a bestseller and a symbol of childhood for generations. The Western Flyer wasn't just any bike. It was known for its sturdy build, sleek design, and affordability, making it a popular choice among American families. In the 1950s and 1960s, owning a Western Flyer was a badge of honor for many kids, and the brand became synonymous with quality and fun. In addition to the Western Flyer, Western Auto developed a range of private label products under the Wizard brand. This line included everything from car batteries to household appliances like refrigerators, lawnmowers, and even televisions. The Wizard products were marketed as reliable yet affordable alternatives to national brands, and many families across America relied on them for their home and automotive needs. Western Auto's ability to offer exclusive in-house brands gave it a competitive edge over other retailers, making its stores a one-stop shop for everything from auto maintenance to home improvements. Western Auto's growth during this time wasn't limited to its product lines. The company expanded rapidly, opening hundreds of stores across the country. By the mid-1960s, Western Auto had established itself in both urban and rural areas, with over 1,200 stores nationwide. The stores were designed to be easily accessible and centrally located in towns and cities, often found on main streets or in shopping centers, making them a convenient stop for families. One fascinating aspect of Western Auto's business during its golden years was its role as an innovator in retailing techniques. The company was one of the first to adopt a hybrid model of mail order and brick-and-mortar stores, allowing customers to order from catalogs and either pick up their purchases in-store or have them delivered to their homes. This multi-channel approach was ahead of its time, blending convenience and personal service. Western Auto also played a significant role in popularizing motorsports during the 1950s and 1960s. It sponsored NASCAR teams and events, cementing its reputation as an authority in the automotive world. This association with car racing added to the brand's appeal, particularly among car enthusiasts, and further strengthened its identity as a key player in the American automotive industry. Another noteworthy development during this time was the introduction of Western Auto's credit plan, which allowed customers to finance large purchases, such as household appliances and automotive parts, through easy monthly payments. This initiative made it possible for more families to access products they might not have been able to afford otherwise, enhancing the company's reach and customer loyalty. Western Auto's success during its golden years wasn't just about products and stores, it was also about its role in the community. Each store was a hub where local families could count on personalized service, knowledgeable staff, and a wide range of goods that met their needs. The combination of national reach and local touch made Western Auto a trusted name across America, and its ability to evolve with consumer demands helped it thrive during this prosperous era. As the 1960s came to a close, Western Auto had become a true American retail icon, with a legacy built on innovation, community, and products that shaped everyday life. However, as retail trends shifted in the 1970s, new challenges began to emerge that would eventually lead to its decline. The beginning of the end. Challenges in the 1970s and 1980s. As Western Auto entered the 1970s, the retail landscape in America was beginning to shift in ways that would challenge even the most established brands. What had worked so well for the company in previous decades, its wide range of products, its customer service, and its community-based stores, began to face stiff competition from emerging retail giants and changing consumer habits. The seeds of decline were sown during this period as the market evolved, and Western Auto struggled to adapt quickly enough. One of the most significant challenges Western Auto faced in the 1970s was the rise of big box retailers like Walmart and Kmart. These new competitors offered a similar variety of products, but at lower prices and in much larger stores that could carry more inventory. Walmart, in particular, grew rapidly during this period, and its aggressive pricing strategies undercut many of Western Auto's key product lines. Consumers were increasingly drawn to the convenience and cost savings offered by these sprawling retail centers, which led to a decline in foot traffic at Western Auto stores. Additionally, specialized automotive retailers such as AutoZone and Pep Boys began to emerge, offering a more focused approach to car parts and services. These stores catered directly to automotive enthusiasts and mechanics with a depth of product knowledge and inventory that Western Auto, with its diversified approach, struggled to match. While Western Auto's strength had once been its ability to serve both automotive and non-automotive needs, this very strategy became a weakness as consumers began seeking out specialized stores for specific purposes. Another issue Western Auto faced in the 1970s and 1980s was its inability to modernize its stores quickly enough. While the company had been innovative in its early years, by this point many of its locations were outdated, both in terms of layout and product offerings. As retail technology advanced, with computerized inventory systems and streamlined checkout processes becoming standard, Western Auto lagged behind. This left the company at a disadvantage in terms of efficiency and customer experience compared to newer competitors. The rise of discount stores also presented a significant challenge. Retailers like Target and Sears expanded their product lines to include automotive parts, appliances, and household goods, all areas that had been Western Auto's bread and butter. The increased competition from larger, more modern stores offering similar products at lower prices put tremendous pressure on Western Auto's bottom line. In an attempt to combat these challenges, Western Auto tried to adapt by focusing more on its automotive roots. The company began shifting its inventory to emphasize car parts and repair services, even creating smaller, more specialized stores that catered directly to automotive enthusiasts. While this strategy helped maintain some of its customer base, it wasn't enough to reverse the overall decline in sales. Western Auto's broad, diversified approach had worked well in earlier decades. But by the 1980s, the retail environment favored specialization and lower prices, both of which were difficult for the company to achieve simultaneously. One of the most significant turning points in Western Auto's decline came in 1988, when the company was sold to Sears. At the time, Sears was itself grappling with increasing competition, and the acquisition of Western Auto was intended to bolster its own automotive division. However, the merger failed to rejuvenate either brand. Western Auto stores began to lose their distinct identity as they were integrated into Sears' broader corporate structure, and the mismanagement that plagued Sears during this period only accelerated Western Auto's decline. Throughout the 1970s and 1980s, Western Auto continued to lose market share to both big box retailers and specialized stores. The company, which had once been a pillar of American retail, found itself unable to compete with the scale and efficiency of newer, more agile competitors. Despite efforts to modernize and refocus, Western Auto's golden years were firmly in the rearview mirror, and the brand's presence in American towns began to fade. As the 1980s drew to a close, it became clear that Western Auto's time as a retail giant was coming to an end. The company that had once been synonymous with American ingenuity and service was now struggling to keep up in a rapidly evolving marketplace. Though it continued to operate for several more years, the decline was irreversible, and the Western Auto that once thrived as a community staple was soon to be relegated to history. The final fall. Untold reasons behind Western Auto's collapse. While competition from big box retailers and specialized auto parts stores were major factors in Western Auto's decline, several lesser-known issues played a significant role in the company's eventual collapse. By the 1990s, Western Auto was not only battling external pressures, but also grappling with internal mismanagement and shifting market dynamics that accelerated its downfall. One of the most overlooked reasons for Western Auto's collapse was the failure to recognize changing consumer behavior early enough. The rise of DIY culture, which had once been a strength for Western Auto, shifted dramatically in the 1990s. While customers in earlier decades took pride in working on their own cars, the increasingly complex automotive technologies of the 1990s made it more difficult for everyday people to perform repairs. As cars became more reliant on specialized parts and computer systems, fewer people were doing their own repairs, and Western Auto's appeal to the DIY market began to dwindle. This shift in customer behavior caught Western Auto off guard, as they had built much of their brand on empowering customers to fix things themselves. Additionally, there was a significant issue with Western Auto's product strategy in its later years. As the company attempted to refocus on automotive parts, it phased out many of the diverse household products that had made it a family destination in previous decades. However, this move alienated a large portion of its customer base. Western Auto was no longer the store where families could find everything from bikes to radios to lawnmowers. Instead, it became too narrowly focused, while lacking the specialization that newer auto parts stores offered. This identity crisis left customers unsure of what Western Auto represented by the 1990s. Another contributing factor to its decline was the failure to update its marketing and branding. In the 1980s and 1990s, Western Auto didn't significantly change its branding strategy, relying heavily on its established reputation rather than embracing a fresh, modern image. Meanwhile, competitors like AutoZone and Pep Boys invested in aggressive marketing campaigns, flashy store designs, and strong national branding. Western Auto, on the other hand, appeared outdated in comparison, failing to connect with younger generations of consumers. A key, lesser-known aspect of Western Auto's downfall was its overly ambitious real estate strategy. Throughout the 1980s, the company expanded aggressively, acquiring more locations than it could effectively manage. In some cases, stores were opened in areas with little demand for automotive parts or in regions already dominated by stronger competitors. This overexpansion led to significant operational inefficiencies. Stores in less profitable areas drained resources from the more successful locations, and management struggled to maintain consistent quality and service across such a sprawling network. Internal leadership changes during this period also destabilized the company. After its acquisition by Sears in 1988, there were multiple leadership transitions, and the company struggled to establish a coherent long-term strategy. This lack of direction led to inconsistent decision-making, with initiatives being started and abandoned before they could make a meaningful impact. The constant changes at the top created confusion and demoralization among employees, which contributed to the company's poor performance in its final years. One particularly interesting but little-known detail is the role that Western Auto's logistics played in its downfall. In the 1990s, efficient supply chain management became a crucial factor for retail success. Competitors like Walmart mastered the art of inventory control using advanced technology to streamline operations and reduce costs. Western Auto, by contrast, had an outdated and inefficient logistics system. Inventory issues plagued the company. Stores were either overstocked with unsold items or understocked with essential car parts, leading to customer dissatisfaction. Without the technological infrastructure to manage its supply chain effectively, Western Auto's operational costs ballooned, further eroding profitability. Another factor often overlooked was the rise of the Internet. While online shopping wasn't fully mainstream in the early 1990s, companies like Amazon were beginning to experiment with e-commerce, and Western Auto failed to see the potential in this growing market. Had the company invested in an early e-commerce platform, it might have been able to transition its catalog business to the digital age, providing customers with an easy way to shop for parts and other goods online. Instead, Western Auto remained stuck in its traditional retail model, which became increasingly obsolete as consumer preferences shifted toward convenience and online shopping. In 1998, when Sears sold Western Auto to Advance Auto Parts, the deal marked the beginning of the final chapter for the company. Advance Auto Parts wasn't interested in preserving Western Auto's legacy, but rather in absorbing its valuable store locations. The sale was driven primarily by real estate considerations, and as a result, many Western Auto stores were closed or rebranded as Advance Auto Parts locations within a few years. This effectively erased the Western Auto brand from the American retail landscape. By the early 2000s, Western Auto was no longer a recognizable name in most American towns. Its disappearance was a reflection of broader changes in the retail industry, where companies that failed to adapt were quickly swept aside by more agile and forward-thinking competitors. Ultimately, Western Auto's fall wasn't just about competition or mismanagement. It was about a company that couldn't pivot quickly enough in a world that was rapidly evolving. From failing to anticipate shifts in customer behavior to mishandling internal operations, Western Auto's collapse serves as a cautionary tale of how even the most beloved and established brands can falter when they lose sight of innovation and adaptability. But what happened to Western Auto's iconic brands? One of the most enduring legacies of Western Auto was its range of private label brands, which became household names during the company's golden years. The most famous of these were the Western Flyer bicycles and the Wizard line of automotive and household products. While Western Auto as a retail chain may have disappeared, the story of these iconic brands didn't end when the stores closed their doors. Western Flyer bicycles. The Western Flyer brand was perhaps the most beloved of all Western Auto's products. Introduced in the 1930s, these bicycles became a staple of American childhood in the mid-20th century. Known for their sturdy build and affordability, Western Flyers were cherished by generations of kids, particularly in the 1950s and 1960s. After Western Auto was sold to Sears in 1988, production of Western Flyer bicycles continued for a while, as the brand still had significant recognition. However, as the company's financial troubles mounted in the 1990s, Western Flyer bicycles gradually faded from production. By the time Western Auto was acquired by Advance Auto Parts in 1998, the Western Flyer brand had been discontinued altogether. Despite this, many vintage Western Flyer bicycles remain highly sought after by collectors today, with some models fetching high prices at auctions or in vintage bicycle communities. Wizard products. Wizard was Western Auto's in-house brand for a wide range of products, from automotive batteries to lawn mowers and home appliances. Like the Western Flyer bicycles, Wizard products were known for being affordable yet durable, and many American families trusted the brand for their household and automotive needs. When Western Auto's fortunes began to decline, the Wizard brand also suffered. The automotive side of the Wizard line, particularly its car batteries and parts, continued to be sold under Western Auto's ownership by Sears and later Advance Auto Parts. However, the household products like Wizard lawnmowers, appliances, and other non-automotive goods were phased out as the company shifted focus back to its automotive roots. Today, the Wizard brand no longer exists as it did during Western Auto's heyday. Some of the more durable Wizard products, particularly lawnmowers and tools, are still found in secondhand markets, and there are communities of enthusiasts who collect and restore Wizard items. However, as a brand, Wizard faded into obscurity, a casualty of Western Auto's broader decline. Western Auto Associates stores. One interesting aspect of Western Auto's final years was the role of its associate stores. These were independently owned franchises that operated under the Western Auto name but were managed by local entrepreneurs. When Advance Auto Parts acquired Western Auto in 1998, many of these associate stores opted to continue operating independently, dropping the Western Auto branding but remaining in business. These stores often retained much of the inventory and product lines associated with Western Auto, including Western Flyer and Wizard items, for as long as they remained in stock. In some cases, these independent stores still exist today, albeit under different names and business models. However, they no longer have any formal connection to the Western Auto brand, and most have transitioned into local auto parts or hardware stores carrying new inventory from other suppliers. Legacy of the brands. While Western Flyer and Wizard no longer exist in their original forms, their legacy endures. Vintage Western Flyer bicycles are often restored and displayed at car shows or sold to collectors, preserving a piece of mid-century Americana. Similarly, Wizard products, especially those related to automotive care, have a certain nostalgic value for people who remember using them during Western Auto's heyday. In the end, the disappearance of these brands mirrored the fate of Western Auto itself, a slow decline brought on by changing markets and consumer habits. However, for those who grew up with a Western Flyer bicycle or trusted Wizard products to maintain their homes and cars, these brands remain a cherished part of American retail history. While they may no longer be in production, their impact on American culture, especially in the mid-20th century, is still felt today. Western Auto may be gone, but its impact lives on in the memories of those who shopped there. From Western Flyer bikes to Wizard products, its legacy remains. If you enjoyed this trip down memory lane, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your own memories in the comments below.